The bolt snaps. Maya Santos is 8 feet in the air, mid-pirouette on the hydraulic bar when she hears it. A sound like bone breaking, metal screaming against metal. The bar jerks sideways. 3,000 people at Lincoln Center gasp at once. She has half a second, maybe less. She's rotating at full speed, 8 feet up. If she falls wrong, she breaks her neck. If she breaks her neck, she never dances again. And if she never dances again, she has nothing. Her father's voice rises from the grave. When everything falls apart, baby girl, you don't freeze, you fly. The bar collapses. Maya doesn't. She launches herself into the air. No harness, no safety net, no second chance. Twisting mid-flight, turning catastrophe into a grand jeté that defies physics. The audience screams. Judges leap to their feet. Her rivals stare in horror and awe. She lands. One perfect fifth position. Knees bent, weight centered, unbroken. Behind her, the bar smashes onto the stage like thunder. Maya doesn't flinch. She holds her final pose, chest heaving, eyes locked on the crowd, one thought burning through her mind. You tried to break me. You failed. Because when you've survived foster care, hunger, abuse, and 10 years of being told you're nothing, a collapsing bar is just another Tuesday. The question echoing through Lincoln Center is simple. How did a homeless orphan outperform America's wealthiest, most privileged dancers? The truth is darker than anyone realizes. Someone tried to kill Maya Santos tonight, and this is how she got here. If you believe talent rises beyond privilege, if you've ever felt unseen or counted out, stay with me. This is the story of how a girl with nothing became undeniable, how sabotage turned into triumph, how the one everyone dismissed became the one nobody could ignore. If stories like this move you, like this video, subscribe for more powerful stories, and tell me in the comments, have you ever been underestimated? Now, let's go back to the beginning.
5 months earlier, September. Maya Santos woke up behind a dumpster in Hell's Kitchen at 4:47 a.m. She knew the exact time because the bakery across the alley always turned on their ovens then, and the smell of rising dough was her alarm clock. She was 17 years old. She owned 1 backpack, 2 pairs of leggings with holes in them, 3 sports bras from Goodwill, a men's jacket 5 sizes too big, 1 pair of destroyed point shoes held together with duct tape and prayer, and a journal. The journal was worth more than everything else combined. Inside, in handwriting she'd memorized, her dead father had written, "Diana Santos, when I'm gone, remember, they can take everything from you except what you carry in your body, your talent, your truth, your ability to speak without words. Guard that with your life." His name had been Andre Santos, master chef, immigrant from Brazil, worked his way from dishwasher to sous chef at Manhattan's finest restaurants. Died in a hit and run when Maya was 7, her mother with him. The driver was never found. The case went cold. Maya went into foster care. 10 years, 7 different homes. 3 of them were okay. 2 were neglectful. 2 were nightmares she didn't let herself remember in daylight. She'd run away from the last one 6 months ago, the Johnsons in Queens, who wanted the monthly check but not the teenage girl that came with it. Mr. Johnson had particular ideas about what teenage girls in his house owed him. Maya had particular ideas about where Mr. Johnson could shove those expectations. So she ran, again, for the last time. Because today was the day everything changed. Today was the Manhattan Academy of Ballet audition. She stood, joints cracking from concrete sleep, washed her face in the bakery's employee bathroom. The owner, Mrs. Chen, let her use it if she came early enough, changed into her least dirty leggings, pulled her hair into a bun so tight it gave her a headache, looked at herself in the mirror. 17, black, skinny in the way that comes from skipping meals, not from discipline, eyes too old for her face, scars on her knuckles from the time she'd punched through a window to escape the Johnsons' house. She looked like what she was, a girl who'd been chewed up by the system and spit out. But when she moved, when she danced, she looked like something else entirely. The audition was at 9 a.m. Maya arrived at 7, waited outside the academy's gleaming glass doors in Midtown. Other girls started arriving at 8:30, pulled up in black cars, carrying designer dance bags, wearing Lululemon-like uniforms. They looked at Maya the way people look at homeless kids, with a mixture of pity and fear, like poverty might be contagious. One girl, blonde, beautiful, radiating wealth like cologne, actually wrinkled her nose as she passed. Maya memorized her face. "You're going to remember me," she thought. "By the end of today, you're all going to remember me."
The audition room smelled like rosin and ambition. 60 girls in identical black leotards stood in perfect fifth position. 60 futures hung in the balance. Madame Celeste Beaumont entered, 73 years old, former Paris Opera Ballet principal, cane tapping against hardwood like a judge's gavel. She walked the line, examining each girl with eyes that missed nothing. She stopped in front of Maya, studied her worn leotard, her duct-taped shoes, her too thin frame. "Your turnout is insufficient. Your arms lack refinement. Your posture suggests you learned ballet from YouTube videos." Her French accent made each criticism sound like poetry. "Why are you here?" Every girl in the room held her breath. Maya met Madame Beaumont's eyes. "Because I'm better than everyone in this room, and you know it." The room gasped. You didn't challenge Madame Beaumont. You didn't claim superiority. You certainly didn't do both. Madame Beaumont's eyebrow arched. "Demonstrate." No music, no preparation, just Maya and 60 pairs of eyes waiting for her to fail. She closed her eyes, found the rhythm in her heartbeat, and danced. What happened in the next 3 minutes would be talked about at the Manhattan Academy of Ballet for years. Maya didn't perform a variation from a famous ballet. She didn't execute textbook-perfect technique. She didn't dance the way girls from elite studios dance, polished, refined, safe. She danced the truth. She'd choreographed it herself in the subway stations where she slept, a piece about a girl who loses everything and rebuilds herself from fragments. Every arabesque was defiance. Every pirouette was survival. Every leap was the distance between who she'd been and who she was becoming. She danced her parents' death, the moment the police came to school, the way the principal's face told her everything before words did. She danced foster care, the homes where she was invisible, the homes where she was too visible. She danced Miss Rosa, the retired dancer who ran a free community program in a church basement, who saw something in 8-year-old Maya and spent 9 years teaching her for free until arthritis forced her to retire. She danced hunger, exhaustion, second-hand shoes held together with hope. And then she danced transformation. The moment you realize that everything that tried to break you actually made you stronger. When she finished, frozen in an arabesque that seemed to defy gravity, the room was silent. Then Madame Beaumont tapped her cane once. "You have raw talent buried beneath abysmal technique. The Whitmore Foundation Scholarship accepts 1 student per year, students from underprivileged backgrounds who show exceptional promise." She leaned forward. "You will train here. You will work harder than you've ever worked. You will probably fail." She paused. "But if you don't fail, you might become something extraordinary." Maya's eyes burned. "Thank you, madame." "Don't thank me yet, child. I've just made your life exponentially harder." At the back of the room, the blonde girl who'd wrinkled her nose watched with cold fury. Elena Whitmore, 16 years old, daughter of Victoria Whitmore, former American Ballet Theater principal, current Manhattan Academy board member, heir to the Whitmore hotel fortune worth $800 million. Elena had been training since she was 3, private studios, renowned instructors, custom-made point shoes flown in from Russia. Her entire life had been choreographed toward one goal: win the National Youth Ballet Competition at 17, accept the Royal Ballet School scholarship, join a major company by 21. She was perfection, and she'd just been upstaged by a homeless girl in duct-taped shoes. Elena pulled out her phone, texted her mother, "We have a problem." First day of training. The Manhattan Academy of Ballet occupied 5 floors of a midtown building with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park. Each studio was bigger than any apartment Maya had ever lived in. The equipment was pristine. The dancers were pristine. Everything was pristine, except Maya. She met the other scholarship students in the changing room. They recognized their own immediately. James Chen, 15, from Brooklyn. His parents worked 16-hour days at their restaurant to afford his dance expenses. "You're the girl who called out Madame Beaumont. That took guts or stupidity." "Probably both," Maya admitted. Aisha Williams, 16, from the Bronx. She unwrapped her point shoes carefully. She'd sewn extra padding inside because she couldn't afford new ones yet. "The rich kids are gonna hate you, especially Elena Whitmore. This is basically her academy." Marcus Rivera, 14, stretching hamstrings that were tighter than they should be from walking miles to save subway fare. "Her mother funds half the programs here. She's already convinced she's winning nationals." Maya laced her donated shoes. "Then she should be worried." "Why?" Aisha asked. "Because I didn't survive everything I survived to come in second place." The others looked at her, recognizing something dangerous in her voice. Not arrogance, certainty. "What happened to you?" James asked quietly. Maya's hands stilled on her ribbons. "My parents died when I was 7. Hit and run. I went into foster care, bounced around 7 homes in 10 years. Some were okay, some—" She didn't finish. "I started dancing at 8 because it was free, and it meant I didn't have to go back to whichever house I was staying in that week. Miss Rosa, retired dancer, ran a community program, saw something in me. Taught me for free for 9 years. "Where is she now?" Marcus asked. "Arthritis got too bad. She used every connection she had to get me into this audition." Maya stood. "I'm not wasting it." When they entered Studio A for advanced technique class, the divide was immediate. On one side, scholarship students in mismatched dancewear, some in leotards clearly secondhand. On the other, elite students in brand new everything, hair professionally styled, looking like they'd stepped out of a ballet magazine. At the center of that second group, like a queen holding court, Elena Whitmore. She walked over to Maya, smile perfect and empty. "I must be the girl who impressed Madame Beaumont. I'm Elena. Welcome." Maya recognized condescension wrapped in politeness. "Thanks. I love your authentic energy. So raw, so unrefined." Elena's tone suggested those weren't compliments. "We should practice together sometime. I could give you pointers. My mother was a principal at ABT, you know." "Everyone knows." Maya met her gaze steadily. "But I didn't come here for pointers. I came here to dance." The smile froze on her face. "We'll see how that confidence holds up once real training begins." Madame Beaumont entered, cane tapping. "Places? We begin with bare work. I expect perfection. I will receive disappointment. Let us begin." October. The breaking point. Training at the academy was designed to break students who weren't strong enough. 6 hours daily. Technique, variations, contemporary, character dance, partnering, composition. Then homework, then conditioning, then sleep if you were lucky. Maya's body screamed constantly. Her feet bled through her shoes. She stuffed them with paper towels and kept dancing. Her muscles cramped from malnutrition. She survived on cafeteria scraps and occasional meals James's parents insisted she share. But she didn't break. She improved at a rate that defied logic. After a brutal 3-hour rehearsal, Madame Beaumont called Maya aside. "You're compensating for lack of formal training with pure instinct. It's remarkable. But instinct without discipline is chaos." She studied Maya's exhausted face. "Why ballet? There are easier paths." Maya's voice was quiet but fierce. "When my parents died, I stopped talking for a year. Complete silence. Therapists thought I was traumatized into muteness, but the truth was simpler. I had nothing to say that words could express." She looked at her bleeding feet. "Then Miss Rosa took me to see Swan Lake. I was 8, sitting in the cheapest seat, and I watched Odette transform from human to swan without saying a word, and I thought, that. I want to do that. I want to speak without words, transform pain into beauty." Madame Beaumont's expression softened almost imperceptibly. "Your parents would be proud." "I hope so," Maya whispered, "because they're the only reason I keep going." December, the Winter Showcase. The Academy announced its annual Winter Showcase. Madame Beaumont would select students for featured solos. But this year was different. "You will create original choreography. 3 minutes, a personal story. I want to see who you are as artists, not merely technicians." Elena's carefully laid plans shattered. Original choreography required creativity, vulnerability, truth, things that couldn't be bought or trained into someone, things Maya had in abundance. Maya choreographed late at night when the elite students had gone home and scholarship students had the building to themselves. Her piece was called Ashes, the story of a girl who loses everything, is broken down, and rebuilds herself stronger. James, Aisha, and Marcus became her audience. "That collapse and rise section," Aisha said, wiping tears. "Girl, I'm destroyed." "It's powerful," Marcus agreed. "But that final leap, you need more height." They worked until 2 a.m., perfecting every detail. When Maya finally nailed the ending, a grand jeté that seemed to suspend her in midair, they cheered so loud the security guard came to check. "You kids gonna be prima ballerinas or what?" "Or what?" Maya grinned. "Definitely or what?" The Winter Showcase, December 18th. The theater was packed. Parents, donors, artistic directors from professional companies. Elena performed a technically flawless variation in a $3,000 custom costume. Clean, safe, empty. Then Maya walked onto that stage in a simple black leotard and a skirt she'd sewn from fabric remnants. The music began, a haunting piano piece by an unknown composer. Her first movement was a fall, not graceful, a collapse, the moment everything breaks. What followed was 3 minutes of devastating beauty. She danced grief, resilience, foster home doorways at midnight, Miss Rosa's arthritic hands, her parents' faces fading from memory. In the audience, people wept openly. In the wings, Madame Beaumont gripped her cane so tight her knuckles went white. In 50 years of teaching, she'd never seen anything like this. When the final note ended, Maya frozen in an impossible arabesque, the theater erupted. Standing ovation, not polite appreciation, pure awe. Elena stood in the wings, her $3,000 costume feeling like a costume, her perfect technique feeling hollow. For the first time in her life, she understood what it meant to be outclassed. After the performance, Madame Beaumont found Maya crying in the dressing room, not from sadness, from overwhelming release. "That," the old woman said, voice cracking, "is what ballet is supposed to be. Truth made visible." Maya looked up, tears streaming. "Was it okay?" "Okay? Child, in 50 years of teaching, I've seen perhaps 5 dancers with true artistry. You are one of them." She tapped her cane. "But artistry without technique will only take you so far. I'm going to train you personally, every day after classes. We'll fix everything. You have 4 months until nationals." "Why would you do that for me?" Madame Beaumont's eyes were distant. "Because 40 years ago, I was you. Poor, underprivileged, dancing where I didn't belong. One teacher believed in me enough to give extra training. She's gone now, but I promised I'd pass it forward. She tapped her cane. Tomorrow, 6 a.m. Don't be late. Across the building, Victoria Whitmore placed a phone call. We need to discuss my daughter's chances at nationals. Yes, I'm aware of other talented students. No, you don't understand. The Whitmore Foundation will be making donation decisions shortly. Yes, I thought you'd see it my way. She hung up, then placed a second call. I need information on Maya Santos. Everything. Background, vulnerabilities, weaknesses. I don't care how you get it. Just get it. January to March. Maya's training under Madame Beaumont was brutal poetry. Every morning at 6 a.m., your fifth position is garbage. Again. Your port-de-bras looks like you're swatting flies. Again. That turn sequence would embarrass a first-year student. Again. Maya's feet bled. She lost weight. Her muscles screamed. But she transformed. By February, even Elena had to admit the orphan girl had become technically proficient. Not perfect, her lines would never have the effortless elegance of someone trained since childhood, but good enough that her artistry was no longer undermined by weakness. The Nationals announcement. The Academy will send 4 students to compete: Elena Whitmore, Maya Santos, James Chen, and Aisha Williams. The room exploded. 2 scholarship students? Unprecedented. Elena's face went white. Maya felt something dangerous bloom in her chest. Hope. 2 weeks before nationals, Madame Beaumont made the final announcement. Each competitor performs 2 pieces, classical variation of your choice and an original contemporary piece incorporating an apparatus or set piece. Maya's mind immediately started working. She spent 3 days in the theater's scene shop with the technical director, Marcus's Uncle Tony, designing something ambitious. A bar attached to a hydraulic lift that would raise her 8 feet high. During her performance, she'd dance about rising from rock bottom, literally and metaphorically. The bar would elevate while she performed increasingly difficult moves at heights that would terrify most dancers. Tony looked skeptical. Kid, this is dangerous. If you fall from 8 feet while turning, I won't fall, Maya said firmly. I've survived worse. Tony saw the truth in her eyes. All right, but we test this 100 times, and you wear a safety harness for practice. Deal.
What Maya didn't know. Victoria Whitmore had received a full report on Maya Santos. Foster care records, school transcripts, everything. What interested her most, student removed from Daniel's household following allegations. Investigation inconclusive. Victoria made a call. I need you to contact Maya Santos. Tell her there are questions about her fitness to compete, her stability, her background. Make her doubt herself. Mrs. Whitmore, that's what I'm paying you for. 3 days before nationals, Maya received an email from an anonymous account. You don't belong at Lincoln Center. You're a charity case pretending to be a ballerina. Everyone knows what happened at the Daniels house. You're damaged goods. Give up now. Maya's hands shook. The Daniels house, where Mr. Daniels had... She shut down the memory, reported the email, tried to focus. But the next day, another arrived. Then another, each more vicious, more personal. James found her crying in the practice studio. This is psychological warfare, he said after reading them. Someone's trying to break you before nationals. Can you prove it's Elena? No. Anonymous accounts. Maya wiped her eyes. But it doesn't matter. They want me scared? Broken? I've been broken before. I know how to rebuild. James gripped her shoulder. You're not alone. But late that night, alone in her tiny apartment, doubts crept in. She opened her dance bag, found the photo she kept hidden, her parents on their wedding day. I'm doing this for you. For 8-year-old me who thought she'd never speak again. For every kid who thinks they're not good enough. She closed her eyes and finished choreographing her piece. The day before Nationals. Lincoln Center was chaos. 300 dancers from across the country, stages being set, equipment tested. Maya watched the crew install her hydraulic bar. Tony supervised personally. "We've tested this 50 times," he assured her. "The system is solid. You could stand on your hands and it wouldn't budge." Elena watched from the wings, her mother beside her. "Quite ambitious. Very showy. Of course, if something went wrong." She didn't finish. Elena felt sick. "Mother, what are you—" "I'm simply observing that complex equipment sometimes malfunctions. Career-ending injuries happen." Victoria's voice was casual. "Of course, I'm sure they've tested thoroughly." Elena stared at her mother. "You wouldn't." "Wouldn't what, darling?" Victoria smiled. "I'm just concerned about safety." That night, long after everyone left, Victoria Whitmore used her board credentials to enter the theater. She walked to Maya's hydraulic system. She didn't sabotage it completely, that could be traced. Instead, she loosened 3 bolts, just enough. The system would function during testing, but under performance stress, with Maya's weight leveraged at different angles, the bar would fail. Maya would fall 8 feet while rotating. An accident. Tragic. Unavoidable. Victoria pocketed the wrench and left, humming Tchaikovsky.
Morning. Classical variations. Elena performed White Swan, technically flawless, emotionally hollow. Scores 8.9, 8.8, 9.0, 8.7, 8.9. Average 8.86. James performed Albrecht's variation, explosive jumps, clean turns. Scores 8.5, 8.6, 8.4, 8.7, 8.5. Average 8.54. Aisha danced Kitri, remarkable precision. Scores 8.7, 8.6, 8.8, 8.6, 8.7. Average 8.68. Then Maya stepped onto the stage. She'd chosen Odette's transformation from Swan Lake, the moment human becomes swan, caught between identities. What she lacked in refined elegance, she compensated for with profound understanding. She didn't perform Odette, she became her. Every extension told the story of entrapment. Every turn was a desperate attempt to break free. The famous 32 fouettes became visual representation of endless cycle. When she finished, the theater was silent. Then thunderous applause. Judges' scores 9.1, 9.3, 9.0, 9.2, 9.4. Average 9.2. Highest classical score of the day. Elena watched from backstage, her mother's hand gripping her shoulder painfully. "The contemporary round," whispered Victoria. "That's where accidents happen." Evening. Contemporary competition. By 7 p.m., 75 dancers had performed. Elena's mirrored floor piece was technically impressive, safe. Scores 8.7, 8.8, 8.6, 8.9, 8.7. Average 8.74. Combined with classical, 17.60. Currently first place. Maya was scheduled last. Backstage, Tony did final safety checks. "Everything looks good," he told Maya. "You're going to kill this." But Maya felt something wrong. Survival instinct honed from years of sensing danger. She walked onto the stage during the break, placed her hand on the bar, and felt it shift, barely, a millimeter that shouldn't exist. Her heart stopped. She tested different sections, most solid, but near the top, where she'd perform her hardest sequences, there was give, dangerous give. Tony rushed over. "What's wrong?" "Something's loose, here." He examined the bolts, face going pale. "These were tight this morning. Can it be fixed?" "Not in 15 minutes." Tony looked devastated. "You'll have to withdraw or perform without the apparatus." Maya's world collapsed. Withdraw meant giving up. Without the apparatus, her choreography made no sense. Elena watched from the wings, her mother beside her. "Such a shame," murmured Victoria. "Equipment failure." Elena looked at her mother and saw a monster. "You did this," Elena whispered. "You sabotaged her." "Don't be ridiculous. I know you." Elena's voice shook. You've taught me winning is everything, that obstacles must be removed. But Maya isn't an obstacle. She's better than me. She's always been better, and I've known it since she walked into the academy. Victoria's face hardened. You will not throw away everything. For what? For a girl whose only crime is being talented while poor? Elena's voice broke. I'm done, Mother. I'm done trying to be perfect, done winning at all costs. She walked away, walked directly to Maya. I know what my mother did. I can't prove it, but I know. Elena's voice was steady despite tears. Use my mirrored panel. Adapt your choreography. Or, she paused, do what you do best. Improvise. Tell your story without apparatus at all. Maya stared at this girl who'd been her rival. Why are you helping me? Elena's smile was sad. Because you reminded me why I started dancing, before competitions and pressure and expectations. I started because it made me feel free. You still have that. Don't let anyone take it. Maya had 30 seconds to decide. She thought of her parents, Miss Rosa, 8-year-old Maya watching Swan Lake, understanding that pain could become beauty. She walked onto that stage empty-handed. The judges looked confused. Without apparatus, she'd lose points automatically. But Maya didn't care about points. She nodded to the pianist, called out Tchaikovsky's None But the Lonely Heart, and began to dance. No apparatus, no safety net, nothing but Maya and truth. She danced her parents' death, the foster homes, Miss Rosa believing in her, the hunger, exhaustion, second-hand shoes held together with hope. Then she danced transformation. Not literal rise, like the hydraulic bar would have provided, but metaphorical. The moment you realize everything that tried to break you made you stronger. The choreography was impossible. Turns that built until she blurred. Leaps that suspended her in air longer than physics should allow. A sequence where she fell and rose, fell and rose, fell and rose, each time faster, more powerful, until the final rise became a grand jeté across the entire stage. She landed. Hold position. Music ended. Complete silence. Then explosion. The entire theater stood as one, people crying openly, judges abandoning professional composure. Maya stood center stage, chest heaving, thinking this is why I survived. The judges didn't need to confer. 9.6, 9.7, 9.8, 9.5, 9.9. Average 9.7. Combined with classical, 18.9. First place by a margin that made second place seem like a different competition. Victoria Whitmore stormed backstage. This is a farce. She didn't use an apparatus. She should be disqualified. Madame Beaumont blocked her path. She performed within the rules. The judges have decided. It stands. I will have your job. I will shut down this program. You will do nothing, Madame Beaumont's voice cut like diamonds. You sabotaged a student's equipment. Yes, Victoria, I know. Security cameras caught you last night. I've provided footage to officials. Victoria's face went white. You will withdraw Elena from this academy, resign from the board, and never come near these students again, or that footage becomes public, and the Whitmore name will be permanently associated with attempted assault of a minor. Elena appeared, still in costume. Mother, listen. I've spent my life trying to earn your approval, trying to be the dancer you were. But I'm not you, and I don't want to be. Her voice was clear. I'm withdrawing from Royal Ballet consideration. I'm requesting my spot go to James Chen. Elena, you're being hysterical. I'm being honest for the first time. Elena turned to Maya. Congratulations, you were extraordinary. Maya didn't know what to say. Thank you, she managed, but you were beautiful too. Perfect isn't the same as true, Elena said softly. You taught me that. Award ceremony. Maya Santos stood on the first-place podium, scholarship certificate in hand, $50,000 check in the other, wearing a borrowed dress. She looked out at the theater. Miss Rosa crying with pride, James, Aisha, Marcus cheering, Madame Beaumont nodding, Elena sitting with her father. The presenter handed her the microphone. Maya had never been good with words, but she tried. When I was 8, I watched Swan Lake from the cheapest seat. I watched a woman transform from human to swan without saying a word, and I decided that's what I wanted, to speak without words, transform pain into beauty. Her voice cracked but continued. I've spent 10 years in foster care, 7 different houses where I was just a check, just a problem. I've danced in church basements with holes in my shoes and hunger in my stomach. I've been told 1,000 times I don't belong in spaces like this. She looked at the camera. But belonging isn't about where you start. It's about what you do with where you are. Talent isn't about advantages. It's about what you're willing to sacrifice. And dance, real dance, isn't about technical perfection. It's about truth. She held up the certificate. This isn't just mine. This belongs to every kid dancing in church basements right now. Every kid in foster care who thinks they're not good enough. Every kid told they don't belong. Her voice strengthened. You belong. Your story matters. Your truth is worth telling. She paused, tears falling. And to my parents, I hope I made you proud. I hope you saw that 8-year-old me who stopped talking, learned to speak through movement. Everything I am, everything I'll become, is because you loved me. The theater erupted. Standing ovation, pure emotion. Royal Ballet School, London. Maya Santos walked through historic halls, still unable to believe she was here. She trained 6 hours daily under world-renowned instructors. Her technique had transformed. She'd finally achieved that turnout Madame Beaumont criticized. Her arms had developed refined elegance. But she hadn't lost the raw artistry that made her special. In the practice studio, she choreographed a new piece, Letter to My Former Self. Her phone buzzed. Elena, performing in off-Broadway show next month, contemporary company, no more competitions, so much happier. Thank you for showing me another path. James, just accepted to Dance Theater of Harlem trainee program, couldn't have done it without your example. Miss Rosa, saw your performance video, 2 million views. Your parents would be so proud. Maya set down her phone, returned to choreography. Through the window, London spread below, this city where she now lived, this opportunity she'd earned, this future she'd fought for. She thought about the girl she'd been, sleeping behind dumpsters, eating from trash, dancing in second-hand shoes held together with hope. That girl was still part of her, would always be. But she wasn't just that girl anymore. She was Maya Santos, Royal Ballet School Principal Scholarship recipient, girl who proved talent transcends circumstance, dancer who transformed pain into beauty, the girl who fell and kept rising. That night, Maya opened her journal, the one she'd started after nationals. Every day she wrote to her younger self. Dear 8-year-old Maya, you're sitting in that theater watching Swan Lake right now. You don't know it yet, but that moment will change your life. You'll spend the next 10 years learning to speak through movement. You'll fall 1,000 times. You'll be broken down and built back up. But here's what I need you to know. It's worth it. Every second-hand shoe, every hungry night, every time someone tells you that you don't belong, it's worth it. Because one day, you'll stand on stage at Lincoln Center and tell your story, and they'll listen. And you'll inspire other kids who feel forgotten, invisible, impossible. You'll learn that your worth isn't determined by where you start. It's determined by how far you're willing to rise. So keep dancing, baby girl. Keep transforming pain into beauty. Keep speaking without words. The world is waiting to hear your truth. Love, 17-year-old Maya. P.S. Mom and Dad are watching. I feel them in every performance. They're proud of us. She closed the journal, looked at her parents' wedding photo, smiled through tears. Then she laced her pointe shoes and returned to practice. There was always another dance to create, another story to tell, another impossible dream to make real. And Maya Santos had learned long ago, impossible was just another word for not yet. If this story moved you, if you believe talent can rise from anywhere, take a moment to like this video so more hidden stories like Maya's can be seen. Subscribe if you want more stories about resilience, justice, and impossible dreams made real. And if this reminded you of someone who's still fighting to be seen, leave a comment for them below, because stories like this deserve to travel.